Good evening, good morning, happy Friday. I know it's just now literally turning Friday. So the Philly Friday frenzy, but midnight edition, guys. Changing my normal plans. You will see this at 9 p.m. tonight. We are live here on the Rap Sports Network at a midnight showing. So kind of like midnight mass at Christmas, whatever you want to do. We're gonna talk your Eagles. We're gonna talk the Phillies. We're gonna have a little fun. And if you do miss this midnight one, you're like, hey, I was sleeping. How was I supposed to watch it? Don't worry about it. It will be replayed tonight at 9 p.m. at its normal time, so you'll be able to catch it. I won't be able to chime in, but I will be here with you tonight. So feel free to join me in the conversation tonight, or just let me ramble on like I tend to do anyway. So, guys, this will be my last show until after Christmas. Of course, Christmas is on next Thursday, Friday. So I want to start off by wishing everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. Happy holidays. Enjoy it with your family. Um, and all that fun stuff. So nice holiday theme. We all got a little early Christmas present. A win from the Eagles. That's right. Yes, it was the Las Vegas Raiders. It was should have happened, but could have not. And that's what I'm going to talk about tonight is counting your blessings in some ways. But more or less, was this the get right game the Eagles needed? A tune up game, as we used to call it in high school and college. A game where you know the team that you play was a bit of a lesser team, kind of got you for the speed of the game. Just a well needed victory morally and on paper, taking the team to a 9-win team now. Again, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. I know a lot of people say, well, what can you take away from them? But you also saw plenty of people on other teams beat up on the Las Vegas Raiders. They were taken away from them. So again, I think major media is always trying to beat down the Eagles a little bit, but whatever. No one likes us. We don't care. Like I said, it's kind of BS. No one likes us. We do care, and we get upset that nobody likes us and doesn't give us our due. But what I can say about this Eagles Raiders game is a good team is supposed to beat the bad teams and beat them mercilessly, and that's what this team did. It's everything was supposed to happen. 31-0 blowout. The defense did their job. The offense did their job. Penalties were minimized. The run game was getting there again against a lowly Raiders team. Which, let's be honest, sorry Raiders, hot garbage. And you could say, "Well, I'm a professional football player," and you're not. So what can you talk about it? You're hot garbage. Raiders fans out there, if you're listening, whoops. But I think your team's hot garbage. I mean, but the way the team was going, the way the season was going at that point, that could have been could you only imagine if the Eagles lost that game or barely snuck by and won that game? If Jalen Hurts had a bunch of turnovers again, we're missing passes, AJ Brown dropping the balls again, or other teammates not doing their job, the O line not doing their job. I mean, they have a decent pass rush. The Raiders have always kept teams somewhat respectable for the most part. But the Eagles did what a good team's supposed to do against a bad team, and it's just own them from the first whistle to the last whistle. So, does that mean the Eagles are a good team, or is it fool's gold because you know the Raiders are hot garbage? And I get it. I 100% get it. It's hard to really get behind a team who has struggled like the Eagles have offensively, and then they came out and they beat a really bad team 31-0. But was this the get right game they needed? You have the Commanders coming up. They win this week. They clinch the NFC East. First time it's done back to back teams since 2004 with the Eagles. So all they have to do is beat the Commanders, which on paper should be almost as easy as the Raiders. Again, divisional games, that always plays a factor. You got guys playing for jobs, either playing for new contracts somewhere else, but playing for the respect of the game. It's a divisional game. Anything the Commanders got to see us 2 more times in the next 3 weeks. They're not going to want to be embarrassed by us twice. So they're probably going to come out and try their damnedest to make sure they don't. So we get to see Marcus Mariota. I don't know who else they're going to be playing. We'll look at the Commanders' injuries as of right now, as of Thursday evening, now into midnight or Friday, early Friday morning, just 5 minutes after midnight for those who are joining us just now. So feel free to comment along. I will try to talk with you. Like I said, we're going to talk Eagles. We're going to talk some Phillies hot stove. Maybe your Christmas wish list for the Philadelphia Phillies and even the Eagles going into this holiday season. Uh, but right now, let's look at the injuries on the Eagles. Jalen Carter remains out with his shoulder issues. Of course, Lane Johnson remains out. Um, I would have to imagine, outside of any implosions, that neither one of these two will sniff the field before the playoffs. Like, just it'd be silly too anyway, especially if you come out and you win this game. I don't care if you slink by the Commanders or not. Win this game, and unless it's right there for your taking, like I think resting this, having this kind of possible mini bye going into the wild card. I mean, it's all about standings. Does play a factor into it. Chicago has a pretty tough road ahead of them. I think it would take a lot. I think we would have to win 2 out of 3, and they would have to lose 2 out of 3. Possibly, not impossible, but I'm more worried about this team being healthy moving forward. Questionable was tight end Cameron Latou and offensive tackle Cameron Williams with a shoulder there, questionable, ready to play. Of course, Saquon Barkley had a stinger, though was a full participant in practice and looked really well. We're going to talk about that against the Raiders, but again, was that the Saquon getting his groove back type? Like, all right, this is what winning tastes like. This is what multiple yards after the line of scrimmage feels like. What good blocking can feel like. Again, I keep saying I will continue to preface with the Raiders. The Raiders are hot garbage, but they are still a professional football team, no matter how hot garbage they are. But sometimes you need to remember what it feels like to win and to have control. They can take this into a Commanders game. And at this, if they start getting hot at this time, Commanders, Bills, Commanders, let the Eagles go into the postseason hot. Not having a bye week, if they can maybe somehow squeak a win against the Commanders and the Bills, that'd be huge. But the Bills are playing hard. I mean, they beat New England. They're playing hot. They're a great, best second half team in all of football. We saw that game against New England. Um, I think if you look at the playoff picture from the AFC NFC standpoint, the AFC has a lot of young teams, unexperienced teams who haven't been in the playoffs for a very long time, or players who are young and never been in the playoffs. So that bodes well for the Bills, I think, moving forward. Maybe even Lamar Jackson and the Ravens if they continue, but I think more the Bills because as we know, no, you will not see Patrick Mahomes. Even if they made the playoffs, there's still going to be Patrick Mahomes. He is going to be recovering from his injury and surgery he just had. Um, so the AFC going to see if the young guys can step up, or if Buffalo can finally get over the hump without having Patrick Mahomes in front of them. The NFC is a little bit more of a tighter race. The Bears are a good team, an aggressive team. Ben Johnson is helping them finding an identity. Um, Green Bay is riddled with injuries as well. It could be interesting on how they handle things moving forward. The Lions getting hot at the right time can always make them dangerous, both offensively and defensively. Um, it's just we'll look at the playoff picture a little bit at one point as each week goes along. We'll get a little taste of what's going on, but we'll talk about the Commanders' injuries, and we'll look at that right now. They have ruled out, of course, Jaden Daniels, and he'll be shut down, as we know, for the last 3 games, so we won't see him at all in either one of the 2 games. Laramie Tunsil, he is been ruled out, and defensive tackle Eddie Goldman had a concussion. He is ruled out, as well as tight end Colson Yankoff. And with Zach Ertz being out on the IL or IR, that doesn't help them at all. As you know, Marshawn Lattimore is on the IR, as well as Dorrance Armstrong, the defensive end. So not only are they struggling, they're injury riddled, and all their big names, for the most part, not there. Linebacker Bobby Wagner, he was sidelined, so they're still questionable on him. Quarterback Jonathan Jones had a rib injury. He's questionable. Defensive tackle Jazon Newton, he had an illness. He'll, if he could play, he could play. I mean, both DT and defensive tackle, they're very, or defensive lineman and defensive and quarterback, they are very thin at. So again, all intents and purposes, the Eagles should have a pretty um, straightforward game. Listen, they're out of the playoffs. There's no playoff for them right now, and that can make you a very dangerous team moving forward. Just playing for your own career, playing for a little pride, playing upset the team. If you're gonna clinch a playoff berth, it isn't going to be against us type mentality. So they can have some positives rolling into the off season in early January. A lot of reasons, and again, it's that divisional rivalry. It's in Washington this week. It's 5 o'clock on Saturday. There's that going on too. So the Commanders are licking their wounds, but that can make you an animal even more dangerous. So don't look past them. But for all intents and purposes, the Eagles should have a field day with that secondary, and the O-line should be able to handle business as well, almost as well as they could have against the Raiders. With that being said, we'll find out. Um, the conversation's still out there, and it's driven by most major media outlets about is Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts that. But I mean, listen, the conversation was should he be sat for the Raiders game? And if any game he shouldn't have been sat for is that game. I mean, that's a get right game. And if he couldn't get right from it, then we have a bigger problem. Right now, as of this moment, he got right from it. Hopefully it carries over against Washington. And, sometimes you got to hit bottom so you can get to the top. And both of them happen at the right times with the division being as weak as they are. I mean, the Giants are out of it. Washington's currently out of it. Dallas is barely in it at this point. So sometimes things happen at the right moments. We would have liked to see them just kind of steamroll their way through to the playoffs. But it's still a lot. I mean, this team had, now to go deep for a Super Bowl run, they would have to, there's no bye week technically. So if they can lock this up and the standings aren't really a big difference, they're going to get a home game. They're going to get a home game, especially for that wild card game. So that will play, into this a little bit. So we'll find out. But it could be a kind of a small blessing in disguise. You don't, maybe you play against Buffalo, and then that last Washington game is, the Tanner McKee game that everybody's been asking for. So, and you sit AJ, you sit Saquon, you sit Jalen. You don't have to worry about hitting that marker, 2,000-yard marker or anything like that. So everybody can sit and just be, and where health and rest is going to become the most important thing at this point. It's going to be the most healthiest team who makes the least amount of mistakes, who makes their way to the Super Bowl. And, there's a lot of teams who we didn't think we would see much of going into the season who have played extraordinarily well. The Rams have become a dangerous team. We did beat them. We got the Rams at the right time. If we were playing the Rams today, it'd be a lot different game. Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford's looking a lot healthier. Now, Devontae Adams, that's a loss for them. Not saying I fear the Rams, but they're a really good team. And, if the offense can't score points, and that's what we're going to see. This next game, the key to the game for me is going to be is consistency. Are they going to be consistently getting better? Are you not just going to do a really good game, be bad, be really good, be bad for 3 weeks, have a really good game against a subpar team, and then come back and you be hot garbage again? Consistency, like this has to be the diving off point for them, not just, hey, we had a good game, we just gotta win one of these 3 games and everything will be fine. That doesn't bode well for any team if that's your mentality. So that's going to be your big key to the game is consistency. Can this team consistently put 2 games like that, even against bad teams, in a row together against a divisional opponent who is a wounded dog right now, and wants to embarrass you before you embarrass them? Okay, and they're going to play. It's going to be chippy. Imagine this would be a chippy game. Saturday, 5 p.m. game. You got flexed out, because everybody thought Washington was going to be this big hullabaloo. after the year, and I talked about this before, and I said that kind of like not undifferent to like the 2022 Phillies getting into the World Series right away, and then the trajectory kind of went down. When you have a young quarterback like this, well, not a young team, a team full of old guys, but some young guys like Terry McLaurin and all that. Instead of making the playoffs, making a little noise, and then making some more noise, and then making a playoff run, and then their Super Bowl appearance, and just kind of gradually getting there. You went from 0 to 60. The bar was set, and then with this bar being set, this team didn't. This it put a lot of pressure on this team. Jaden Daniels, got a little exposed for his sophomore slump, if you want to call it that. Injuries are also, of course, been a big thing all over this Commanders team. And look who owns the team. Who would have thought a guy had one superstar, a couple superstars, and then put a lot of old guys out of their prime around them. Where do we see that before? Josh Harris warned you, Commanders. We warned you. Listen, maybe anything's better than Dan Snyder, but you kind of got almost the Dan Snyder-esque with Josh Harris. So let's see if that changes going next year. But that's not next year. We're talking about this year. We're talking about a Saturday game, 5 p.m. Commanders Eagles. So I expect a chippy game, but I expect the Eagles to get the job done and come as long as they come out healthy. Because I know a lot of people are looking for style points now for the Eagles. Are they just not going to beat teams and come out and wallop teams? Is the offense going to be a machine on top of the defense? Because then it's Super Bowl bound for everybody. If they can put a couple offensive games together and defensive games, it's going to be Super Bowl. That's what we're going to hear. And I get that. That's what we're here to do. My job is my important keys here is get the win and come out healthy on the other end. Because you can struggle a little bit against a divisional team. Again, I expect a game, but at the same time, coming out healthy is the most important thing here. Everybody's going to be a little banged up at this point. Win and healthy, and then you can let guys rest moving forward. It's a huge coup for the Eagles moving forward into the playoffs. And we still have 3 more weeks. I mean, this season went fast, but at the same time, still 3 weeks. You got a tough Buffalo Bills team coming in after Washington, or actually that's in Buffalo, I think. So you have to go to Buffalo, so that's doesn't help bode well. But again, the game means less. It's more about staying healthy and just. The guys are going to play. Guys are going to play and they're going to want to win. Don't get me wrong. Bills have a lot more to play for in a sense because of they're not going to catch. I think mathematically they could catch up to New England, but it's going to be a lot harder for them to do it. Then they split the season series with them, so we'll find out. But that's going to be a tough game. If they win, takes a little pressure off of them because then you have to go win against the Bills, and then now that last game becomes more important if you don't win against the Bills. So, and the last thing you want to do is win one game in 6, because then the conversations just can go back to where it was. And I would like for us to talk more X's and O's, and not worry about is Jalen Hurts going to bounce back? Is Nick Sirianni a dope? Like it's weak journalism. It really is just weak journalism. It really irks me that that's what passes for news, or sports breakdowns nowadays. And you see it all over the place at ESPN, Fox Sports, because they know that if you talk bad about the Eagles, you're going to get everybody in uproar, and then guys like me out here talking about it, getting the conversation started. Which it's working, obviously, but it's weak. It's weak journalism. It's fluff. Let's go through the takeaways of the week and the Raiders versus Eagles. Jalen Hurts bounced back. Rough previous week, 5 turnovers, 2 in 1 play. We all know about that the week before, but he was efficient. He went for 12 for 15, 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that's a good thing. No interceptions. And he also contributed 39 rushing yards of his own. So, from week before the week now, it's a huge plus. The defense just continues to dominate. First shutout since 2018, holding the Raiders to a measly 75 total offensive yards, not rushing, and not passing. Total 75 yards. And I understand a team is bad, and the Raiders are a hot garbage team, but they are a professional football team, and even bad teams are going to put up 100 yards total, 150 yards total, 200 yards on a bad game. 75 total yards. I mean, it's defense. I hope we don't waste it this year. I hope we don't waste it. And you're still missing key guys like Carter, um, but guys like Quinion just just playing um, out of their lights out. You don't hear him. Like, that's the funny part. You don't hear about Quinion because nobody goes to throw near him. They stay away from him. He's built such a reputation. It's just like we're just going to stay away from him. The balance, it was a big thing. Balance, offensive balance and efficiency, I would say, was a big thing. The offense found the balance between the run and the pass game. 387 total yards, 204 passing, 183 rushing. It's everything you want to see. Controlling the time of possession. That's a good, solid football game. That's what you want. Again, I know it's the Raiders. They suck. They're terrible. If they shouldn't even probably be in the NFL right now, like just how bad they are. But that's what you want. What did we ask for? We want to see the balance. We want to see less mistakes. We want to see the O-line do their job. We want to see Jalen Hurts be a better quarterback. We want to see the run game get going. All those things happen. So it's got to start somewhere. It starts here. Now it's the consistency. Now it's move forward, and that's what this team needs. And this is the jumping off point, and that's important. Dallas Goedert. Let's kind of give the man his flowers a little bit at this point. I mean, he was a guy that a lot of people thought was going to be gone because he's going to command too much money. He was getting older. His durability has been in question, and rightfully so. I think he only missed one game this season, so that's key. That's really key for this team. That was only missing one game this season, but he was a focal point of the offense. He had 6 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's huge. And we all know the tight end is the quarterback's safety blanket, so that's good. That means he gets in there. Now they can focus on him and AJ and Devontae. And again, the discipline. The discipline was the other key takeaway from this Eagles-Raiders game. They committed only 3 penalties the entire game, a significant improvement because the penalties thing was really starting to add up. Because they were getting away. They were getting away with some murder, but the penalty thing kept adding up, the running game being weak, and the offense being non-existent for a while. Started to add up, and that's why you started going this 3-game losing streak. They should have beat the Chargers. They really should have, but they didn't. I mean, they were in that game no matter how. 5 turnovers, time of possession not in your favor at all, yet they were still in the game. So, again, mainly because of the defense. But if this offense can be just, it doesn't even have to be stellar. It doesn't have to be 500 plus total yards from the quarterback, 5 touchdowns, 200 yards from the rushing, like all that stuff. Like we don't have to have that with this defense. You just have to have a good offense, a offense that's going to at least score points, not drive the ball down the field, get in the end zone, and just lollipop it up to the other team and not come away with points. That's what we want. That's what we got. And that's what we need to go forward. That's the important part. You know, any good listen, does this team have its hold? I mean, listen, I watched Matty B tonight. I watched him and Kyle talk earlier. Again, the question is, what can you take away from this Eagles-Raiders victory? What you could take away is all the stuff I just talked about. You did they there was a lot of check boxes unchecked going in to this game. And they did it. They checked, and checked. And they checked significantly. You shut out the team. I had them winning like 20, I think it was 24-9. I thought like they would maybe score some field goals, you know, kick 2-3 field goals, get 9 points. And the offense, you know, how slow they've been. I thought maybe they're good for a couple touchdowns, 3 touchdowns and a field goal or something like that. But they look good all around. And maybe this is what they need, a little confidence builder, a little boost. Now again, it's the keys moving forward would be consistency and improvement on the offense. So they're 9-5, as I said. They are the number 3 seed. So let's look at this recent playoff picture. So they clinch a win. They win this week against the Commanders, or any one of these next 3 games. They clinch the East. First team to do it 2 years in a row since 2004. So that's huge. I watched it. Like I said, not a good team, a very injured team, very elderly team. So that's all important. But the rushing attack could be huge. If this rushing attack can continue to build off of it, the offensive line can continue to build off of it. And I mean, the 183 yards gained against the Raiders. Maybe not get 183, but 125, 150. I'd be okay. I'd be happy with that. And just watching Saquon play is awesome. And watching him play with, how do you want to put this? With old juice could be huge. And continuing that way. So, like I said, there's the BS going around the major media. Nick Sirianni addressed and continuing the noise, the criticism surrounding Hurts, who is not on the injury report. He's fine. We're not going to sit him. Why? And again, I just don't. Anybody who's played sports before, you know you're going up against a bad team. That's how you judge if this guy can bounce back. Put him up against a bad team. If he can't beat them, then there's a mental blockade, something that's just not. He's not getting through. But this team looked like a team again. So if you can use that and bounce forward, that's awesome. Again, we can have the same conversation. It doesn't matter if they beat a good team. That was one game. If you beat a bad team, it's a bad team. If they lost, people would be lining up to jump off the Ben Franklin Bridge. Just what it would be. So you can't win. You're never going to silence the doubters unless you win the Super Bowl. Until then, and they'll come up with a reason even then. I mean, people are even saying, like last year, the defense won it. Of course, the defense won it. They did a great job, but the offense was just firing on all cylinders. Chiefs had a good defense, really good defense last year. Could have been just a close game if the offense was bad, but it wasn't. So, is this team perfect? No. Is there a lot of holes a lot of question marks still need to be answered? Yes. Were they answered for 1 week against a really bad team? Yes. Now let's keep it going. Build on this. That's it. I'm not saying you have to be blind faith and you have to be a homer, as some people will call it. But anybody who's played organized sports, good teams are going to have bad runs. Bad teams are going to have good runs. And you can't build off of them at all. But you you can't just lean on them, but you build off of them. Is more to the point I should be saying. So let's look at the Commanders' injury report. Of course, like I went over all that with you earlier. They're just really thin. Marcus Mariota is still a good quarterback, but he can get got. So go get him. He's going up a pretty healthy defense outside Jalen Carter. Some of the defensive tackles have just really stepped up. Brandon Graham got a Saxon. It's seeing him strut his stuff. He came late and maybe he needed some time, but he's looking pretty stout. So it'll be an interesting it'll be interesting seeing them move forward against this team. So let's look at this. I hate giving predictions. I really do. Predictions are such BS. Even if I got it right, I based last week on maybe the Eagles offense would do better, but not as good as they did. Even though the Raiders are a bad team, the defense would do their job and just keep them to like few field goals. But I mean, I think this is going to be a win. I think it's going to get chippy. Again, coming out healthy will be the most important part in my mind. Healthy in the W. Anything else is whatever. Jalen Hurts throws for 400 yards. Awesome. But healthy and a win is the two most important things. Lock up the NFC East and be able to come out and lick your wounds for the next couple weeks while you wait to start your 2025 playoff run. That's how I look at it. Let's switch into the Phillies. A lot of hot stove conversation. Some couple new things. The biggest was Adolis Garcia was signed to a 1-year, $10 million deal to play right field because we all know certain Nick Castellanos is gone. Obviously, there's been no movement. There's been, from what we were understood, that there's been no real interest. I'm sure people have kicked the tires, but it's a $20 million clip, and it might be hard for somebody to swallow. And I get it. So if they don't release him, they might have to trade a low level prospect to unload him. Like, here, take him, and we'll give you this guy too, and we'll eat 5 million of it, maybe. I don't know. Or they're going to release him and eat it all. I mean, they kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place, and they don't want him back. And I kept saying this into the after that whole Miami Marlins debacle, and something was said against somebody, and we saw Rob really show his teeth for the first time as the manager of the Phillies. That, in my eyes, I think that was his swan song. Goodbye, adios. And I don't dislike Nick Castellanos, but I'm over Nick Castellanos, I guess. He's a good player. He gives it his all. That's great. But he's also kind of a cocky guy, which you want a little cockiness in your players. But is he a team guy? And his streakiness is bad. I mean, this team, you have to unload the streakiness. Can Garcia get to form that he was a couple of years back? This is another little above Max Kepler signing, but kind of bargain basement shopping. Like, hey, here's a guy who used to have a lot of upside. It's only $10 million, 1-year contract. We'll see if we can get something out of him. But you plug him in the 5, 6 hole, 7 hole, maybe. And right now, and then we hear Dombrowski say, "Oh, we're pretty set in the outfield." Wasn't really what I want to hear. Brandon Marsh is sticking around. Hopefully Justin Crawford's his job to lose, but we don't know what we're going to get from him. And we're gonna have to deal with some growing pains. That's the other thing, guys. Can't expect them to come out like gangbusters. But maybe that's what the Phillies need. Maybe the Phillies need to struggle and limp into the playoffs and not get a first round bye and not expect to be there, because that's what it's kind of become, right? I mean, the Mets series 2 years ago, yeah, that's what that felt like a lot. Last year, it was just the Dodgers. They couldn't get past them, and they almost did. I mean, they almost made a comeback. It wasn't like it was out of the question, and it's just the offense got cold again, and because of the big boppers, and we could sit here and talk about the Kyle Schwarber signing. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I was watching Matty's show tonight. My old buddy Fred Burns was chiming in too with him. The only one of the big ways that you can make me swallow this 5-year deal with a guy his age, when you could have went and got Pete Alonso for about the same price, about 3 years younger, is if he hits in the 4 hole. Like, if you're not going to change the philosophy by changing the type of players, then you need to change what the players are doing and how they. I don't care if you don't want to hit there. I don't care if you don't want to play there. I don't care if you feel more comfortable leading off or in the 2 hole, Kyle Schwarber. I don't care what the analytics say. You're in the 4 hole. You're driving guys in. You're doing your job. You're getting paid good money, and you're going to do it. And that's it. I would like to see that from the. If you're not going to change the personnel, then you need to change the philosophy in this team. Garcia has upside, right? Gotta hope he has it. Could be like a Max Kepler type situation. It just smells like, I guess that means Harrison Bader isn't going to come back. And again, I really liked Harrison. The juice he brought the team, the swagger he brought. This team seemed a lot different when he played well. I mean, that was one big loss when he got injured coming into the Dodgers series. If he was healthy, that could have been a whole lot of different series. But it was also an anomaly for him. Like, we would literally be basing off the best half of season of his career. So would the juice continue to stay there, and is he worth the squeeze? And obviously, the Phillies didn't feel that way. But they did add Brad Keller, which this was a signing I did like. 2 years, $22 million, so $11 million a year, so nothing outrageous. Right-handed reliever, a lot of Tanner Banks-esque type pitcher to me. Really had a good year, his best year, probably. He's 30 years old, so not old. So 2 years on him is only brings you to 31, 32, maybe 33, depending on what time he turns. Been in the MLB since 2018. He went full-time bullpen, but he does able to do long relief, so that might be a good reason why too, especially if Zach Wheeler's not ready, if Andrew Painter gets shelled, if Aaron Nola's form doesn't come back, whatever it is. His career year got with the Cubs, a 2.07 ERA, a 0.96 WHIP in 68 appearances. So, I mean, his career record or career ERA is 4.14. But he had 75 strikeouts and 3 saves actually this year. So, not that we need him, but pairing him, Banks, Duran, Jose Alvarado, if he's okay without the juice or whatever it is he was using. Because it looks like Matt Strom's going to be out. It looks like he's all but gone. He's a fairly decent trade piece. He's likely to be traded, especially now that they added Brad Keller into the situation. He's one of the he was one of baseball's better relievers over the last couple of years. Last year was a little not the best. He had a 1.87 2024, but he all had 2.74 ERA in 2025. So it gives them trade value, but it's depending on what they're going to get. And I don't think they're going to get maybe a prospect, a high-end prospect. Organizations not like high end, not top 5 prospect, top 10 prospect or anything like that. I just don't think they're going to get another player, not a bench player maybe at most, but I really don't think it's going to be like that. He's a left-handed reliever. They don't, he's going to be hitting the free market next year, so that means it's not like he has like 2-3 years in a contract that makes people want to, be willing to trade somebody for a 1-year rental. He's owed $7.5 million for the 2026 season. So they move him, it gives him a little payroll flexibility, especially adding $11 million from Brad Keller. And like I said, you're gonna get a mid to lower level prospect in my eyes. You're not gonna get a big time MLB player or even a good bench player. I don't think. But I think he's values more than some people might put it, but it's not as much as most people would think. And we always overvalue our players. And, unfortunately, they're either in really bad contracts or they're coming up on the end of their contract and people don't want to pay as much as we would hope they want to pay for a rental. Now, if you're getting like Duran or something, they'll pay through their nose for it. We're still waiting for a response from JT. To me, that's the biggest move right now. And it's sad that it is because I love JT. Love JT. I just love his style. I love his play. People try to knock him down, and he continues to kind of put the haters in their place. He had a better offensive surge towards the end of this year, like latter in the second half of this year. But like if you keep him in the 6-7 hole, but he keeps playing defense, and he's still very mobile catcher. It's like his knees have gotten, but now you have Kyle Schwarber. That's the other bad problem signing Kyle Schwarber. He's clogging up that DH. So, I think the holdup with JT is really the years. JT probably wants 3 years. Phillies probably want to give him 2 years. And he's not in, he's probably the best catcher on the market. So he's able to kind of wheel and deal. I still think the Phillies will add a bench piece. I mean, unless they keep it in like Red Conus, they bring him up maybe for another outfielder. Otto Kemp, they played him a little bit in the outfield. I would like to see those two get some time. That would be interesting. The Rule 5 draft as well went through. They got Zach McCambley and Yanel Corrette, which we know about him, two right-handed pitchers, um, minor league pitchers, and then they actually lost uh, Griff McGarry. So the Griff McGarry experiment is over, I guess. So we're not going to see him too much, or no, we won't see him because unless we pitches for the Nationals. Um, are the Phillies going to break some stride and start bringing younger guys up? Was that like, listen, we're gonna use the youth movement, so we are going to need guys like Kyle, and we're going to be able to pay them because we're not going to pay other people. They shopped Bohm, but Bohm doesn't have the value that they were hoping for. And if they lose Bohm, they're going to bring somebody else in, and obviously they're probably not ready to bring up Aiden Miller. Aiden Miller's is still pretty young, so there's all that to look. So I did not love the words from Dombrowski. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest. Again, I don't think a team has to go out and rebuild by signing $30 million a year contracts for everybody. But I would have hoped a little bit more. I mean, is Garcia going to be the only non-guy that wasn't here? A guy that wasn't here last year? That's kind of where we're trying to get back. Like it feels like it's running back again. There has to be a philosophy change internally if they're not going to do it with external players that are bringing them in. There just has to be. You can't keep throwing this. The old definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. It's getting insane. I mean, I think at this point, 100-win season doesn't mean anything to anybody if this team can't make waves in the playoffs. And right now, it's hard to see the forest through the trees with the words of Dombrowski and the moves or lack of moves at this point now, I guess. The only thing is the Kyle Schwarber thing. And I kind of thought he was gone. And again, I really like Kyle. I feel like if he was watching this, it'd break my heart for him to hear it because I am a huge fan. I think he was just wonderful, and all that stuff. But it's like getting younger. We've allocated that to a couple guys and brought in two uh, contact players. That is all big things to look at. And sorry guys, I missed some of the comments here. I don't know why they didn't show up. I had to refresh that. Is this New Year's Eve? Why am I up? Midnight show. No, Freddie. Unfortunately, I had changed, so I'm doing it tonight live to get live comments like this. He's talking about the Eagles here. Got to be 2 seed. 49ers could get 1 seed now. Pretty crazy. I could see 49ers losing round 1. Great show. Love it. Joe, what's going on, buddy? Thank you. I know you're always chiming in. Thoughts on the new bullpen piece? Kind of touched on them. I like them. I do. I mean, a really good year last year. Hopefully it continues. It was his career year. If he can continue that here, that'd be a huge boost. I hope you trade Strom for a young bat. That's my point. Is it's not going to be anybody. I really just don't think it's going to be anybody who's going to be making any waves this year, Joe. I just don't. Would you go after Marte, and what would it take to make the deal? Too much. They don't want to pay him, and they don't want to give up the resources. Because if you're trading Strom now, because you could trade him at the deadline if you really wanted to get something more for him, see where you're at. Find a team who's in need for some bullpen pieces. If you're trading Strom for a what's it called, a prospect and a mid-tier prospect, I don't know if they're going to be willing to move on any of that. I mean, Strom's not going to get that job done, and you would be one piece of it. You would have to probably give up like Bryson Stott, Aiden Miller, maybe, or a couple high-end prospects to get the job done. And Joe, I just don't think that's too rich for the Phillies. To be honest with you, I just think it's just too rich for the Phillies to do anything. So we will continue. I will continue, of course, to watch the hot stove, and maybe watch Dombrowski stay away from it at this point. I mean, I don't think they're done. I just don't think you're not gonna get any big name signings. I just don't. I don't think you're gonna get it. They're just not gonna pay it, and they're trying to get a youth movement, but they don't have all the youth. I mean, Crawford is probably the only youth guy that's going to make time up. I mean, Otto Kemp might get some more play time. Maybe Rinconis, they bring him up as a bench piece. You know, Rinconis, Kemp, I guess Marshawn, and who am I forgetting? Oh, Amundo Sosa for your bench. I wouldn't hate that. I mean, there's still something to be said about Rinconis. We will see what he has. But yeah, so for those who are just wondering, this is the Friday Night Frenzy or the Philly Friday Frenzy. And normally it's 9 p.m. on Fridays, but schedule conflict, something changed at the last minute, so I have to go and do something tomorrow night. So I want to do this tonight live with you. So those who are, but this will replay tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, evening, all that stuff. So if you missed it, don't worry about it. If I'm not commenting or reading your comments on the screen, it's not because I don't love you or I don't want to hear about it. It's because I'm not live and I'm talking to you from, hours and hours ago in the morning at currently 12:46 a.m. on a Friday evening. I'm a night owl. I like staying up at night. But other than that, guys, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Sorry I didn't jump on your comments earlier. Don't know why the system wasn't showing it to me. The little red dot doesn't come up when things come up. I kept looking. You kept seeing me like, where's the red dot? Where's the red dot? But let's look at the lineup here. You have of course, Philly Friday Frenzy tonight or Friday today. Tomorrow you have the Eagles and Flyers post game shows. 9 a.m. Philly AM Sports. Me and Mikey Laro on that. Steel City Sunday pre and post game shows, and of course 9 p.m. the final word with Matty B, bringing us into Christmas week, guys. I will be back Friday after Christmas, so you could tell me all about your favorite presents, what you got, what you wish you got. Hopefully, you guys have a great time with your family. I know it's a tough time of the year for some people, so if if it is, we're here for you. But guys, I want you to enjoy your holidays, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart. I hope you all do. Let's see. We got another question here. Would you go? Oh no, I'm sorry, we don't. But so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. Whatever it is you do, I'll talk to you before the New Year's. Maybe we'll do a little rundown of Philly sports in 2025, and we'll touch on them a little bit. I guess it would be next week, or maybe we'll do it on the first Friday in January. We'll see. We'll see. I try to pull something extra together for you guys, but don't forget on the show you got the final word with Matty B, fearless leader. Sundays Philly AM Sports. Then don't forget props, locks, and parlays with Mikey Laro. Wrong post game. It should be the Commanders post game, but there's a post game show, of course. Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. Penn State show, I believe, is over at this point. Steel City, Gridiron Weekly, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, and the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. So for PA sports all around, from Philly to Pittsburgh, they got you covered. And don't forget Philly Friday Frenzies with myself, normally at 9 p.m. live. It won't be live this 9 p.m., but here I am. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me. As always, enjoy yourself. Joe, happy holidays, my friend, to you and your family. You did great today, by the way. Let me point this out. I forgot to say. So Matty B opens the phone lines. I'm going to try to start doing that at one point as I build up the Friday night a little bit, get more people in. I'm trying to have some guests on. I have a couple guys I'm talking to getting lined up. So hopefully that works out. I want to see you and Mike open the phone lines one day. That would be something we've talked about doing. Yeah, Joe. And by the way, like I said, you great points today on the final word with Matty B. You came on and really gave top tier performance, my friend. To be honest with you probably gonna replace Matty at this point. Don't tell him I said that. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Enjoy your holidays, and as always, go Birds and ring the bell.